Welcome back. So today I'm gonna talk, this is part 2 of the Business English Let's Get to Know Each Other series. So let me tell you what my Business English course is not about. It's not about terminology. So I've mentioned this in the past. So Business English is about everything that helps you, every single thing that helps you excel in everyday life, everything that helps you break barriers, language barriers in an English-speaking environment, especially if English is not your mother tongue. So I will not be teaching you terminology, although I could, provided that you were in the marketing field. Why am I the right person to do that? And you know, ever since I first started teaching Business English, you might have noticed that there is so many courses mushrooming, literally mushrooming, and they even use the same descriptions that I use. So although this sometimes might be quite frustrating. I mean, just thinking about it makes me upset. But anyway, because I'm all for ingenuity, I'm all for originality. If I know that something has already been done out there, I'm not going to even touch it, you know? So every single thing I've put into this syllabus works. How do I know it works? Because first of all, I've been actively teaching adults for 19 years. This is the 19th year or the 20th. Anyway, so I started when I was 17. I'll be 36 in March, countdown. So yes, it's probably the 19th year. So I've been doing this for 19 years. So, I mean, what you're looking at is the outcome of 19 years of teaching experience. Okay. Of course, there is another 10 years or more of marketing experience, because that was my master's, from which I graduated with honors, with distinction. So there is a combined experience of 30 years. And I know that I look as fresh as a strawberry in, what's their season? Is it spring-ish? I don't think it's summer. Anyway, when at their best, like a strawberry at its best, okay? But do not forget that I'm 35 and a half, but I've put in the work. I said I probably, deprioritized my personal life and prioritized my professional growth. That's how I viewed life. That was my perspective back then. So whatever. Either way, I mean business. Like business with the acute accent and all that. For the past 2.5 years, you've seen me actually prove what I can do. So there's a lot of people claiming that they do a lot of things. The point is, do they show you that they can do that? So I'm only telling you these because a lot of people will use my words or my descriptions to sort of equate what they do to what I do, because you have to look for traces. People who tell you that they teach business English, what kind of business English do they teach? What is their knowledge? Where are they coming from? Can they prove that? Can they prove their points? Because I can. But still, if my LinkedIn is not convincing enough, and a Google search, if these two are not convincing enough, then be my guest, make your choices, you're responsible for your choices. I don't care. So the thing is that I just want the reason. Let me tell you where all of this is coming from. So there was this this student of mine a few months back who said to me that, Ine, I'm now joining your classes. I started taking business English classes earlier this year, and I was like, okay. And she's like, but the thing is that the moment we got to KPIs or this or that, the teacher couldn't help me. And I said, well, do you understand why now? Because I've actually been doing this. I've been writing, I've sent out, it must have been like hundreds, if not thousands, of newsletters. I've written possibly something like 10 dissertations worth of words in blogs and content upgrades. Because in my capacity as the head of content at this EMS, so it's insane. The kind of work that I've put in is insane. Working first as a freelancer sort of thing, you know, like they would just assign me projects for the branding of this very new product, and then I was responsible for the education of the audience because it was a very innovative product. And that was a challenge, but it was like a very exciting challenge for me. And also because I had like almost zero budget. Anyway, so what else? Then I became the brand manager at that brand, making decisions on so many levels about a lot of things, and of course establishing relationships with sellers abroad, and with buyers. Sorry, we were the sellers, so with buyers abroad and all that. What else? Then I co-founded a startup for the incubator of the Embassy of the Netherlands. It was called Orange Grove. So it was really groundbreaking back then. We really made headlines. We participated in so many competitions. It must have been around, you know, we must have been around for like 2 or 3 months. And with my back then co-founder, whom I had pretty much just met, but anyway, and we, after intensive training by Google experts, we got 2nd place at Google Launchpad. And if you ask around, chances are you know someone who knows me. So the reason why, I know that this might sound cocky to you, if you are a wallflower, if you are shy, if you are humble, or better yet, if I may, if you confuse being humble with knowing who you are, self-knowledge. So in this case, I know who I am. And the thing is that in the past, I used to be this humble little girl who would just like, you know, just do her best. I would just do my best, and I would just wait for people to compliment me on the kind of work they put out, you know, and all my validation was external. There was also internal validation because I was like, yay, Nay, you did it, yes, we're so happy, but I rely a lot on external validation. And I've mentioned this, I've tweeted something similar, I've posted about this in the past, and said that if you rely, or when you rely too much on external validation, it's a trap, because if they like you too much, then you stop evolving. And if they do not validate you enough, then you stop believing in yourself. So you have to find this fine line, okay, or this like sweet spot of knowing and caring about what others think, knowing and caring about their feedback, but also knowing and caring about what you think and where you stand on what you have created. So, you know, from my experience in the corporate world, because then I went on to, I started working as a contributor writer at this EMS, and went on to become the head of content, and also made a lot of marketing decisions. Of course, my title never matched my my duties, and that was one of the first red flags, or one of the red flags anyway, that made me quit my job afterwards. So essentially, after all these years, I realized that, and I kept on teaching, especially as soon as Hack Into English was founded and was officially a business. And I was like so happy, because for the first time I was an actual entrepreneur, and I broke the cycle, because in the startup cycle, in the startup ecosystem, not everyone started up a business, actually start up a business. So you start up a business the moment you have your first client. So we never got that far, but we were in the proof of concept phase, or the traction phase. But anyway, so that was my very own business, and I was so happy. The moment this whole thing started, shit got real. And I realized, at the beginning, I still taught whatever people wanted me to teach them. So I was like, yeah, grammar, sure, yeah, go ahead. So yeah, so this is it, this is that, yada yada. And then it would be, I would start the speaking classes, and then I would go on with the business English. And then there was a point where I said, I got something there. And I just thought, I remember what challenges I had to face as a woman in the business world and also what I could see other women or other colleagues of mine facing. So I was like, okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. So I designed a course that brings in, and maybe course doesn't do it justice, because if I could come up with a fancier name, it's a business English mindset, okay, maybe I'm going to call it that, because I bring in psychology to inform every single thing. Everything is science-backed, everything I tell you in class, and it's either science-backed or experience-backed. And what else? So it's psychology, there is marketing, there's personal branding. Anywho, I'll be happy to meet you in class, and yeah, have a good one.